In this video, I'm going to lay out my expectations for active reading and annotating using the app Cami. In all of your assignments, you'll see the same template and the same directions. Be sure that you follow all 4 steps of the directions. If you need an exemplar, the one that I'm going to go over is right here in all of the annotation tasks that you complete. So let's take a deeper look into what's in front of you in this process. So you have 2 different sides to your process. You have the active reading side, which is in yellow, and then you have the annotation task. The active reading takes you through these different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. It's a way of thinking critically. So after you read the text and follow those directions that I just checkboxed, you'll come over here and you'll write your own original question. And then your annotation task is to make a list. And I'll show you in the example what that looks like, what it looks like in terms of on Cami. Next, you'll write your own original question in this space. Now down here, you'll notice that there is a resource. If you use this link, it will help you generate those questions on your own. After you complete that, you'll go to the document and interpret the most important sentence in the text. That annotation task can be either completed over here in the margins using Cami, as you'll see in the student example, or you can scroll down and make it directly in the document itself. After that process, you'll write a third question in this space, and then make a before or after cause and effect chart. And again, you can choose to do that over here in Cami. You'll have a little dot that comes on the screen, and then you'll have a pop-up that gives you that opportunity here if you want to write about it. If you want to draw, you can scroll down to the document itself and draw directly onto the resource. Lastly, for 5 points, you'll complete one of these active reading strategies that's here. Either compare and contrast this to another book, movie, poem that you read, critique the narrator's thoughts, invent a solution to the problem that's presented, or identify the ethical situation being presented and explain it. Now, this one is one that you will definitely have to create a dot, and then it'll generate a little box over here as well, as I'll show you in the example. And that's where you'll do that active reading strategy in that space. Let's clean things up a little bit and continue to look at this document. So I've divided this into 2 different boxes for you. The top part is active reading and annotating. Annotating simply means completing these tasks that are over here on the right. Active reading means completing these tasks that are on the left. The second phase is marking the text. And so to mark the text, in the text, you'll see it provided in this blue box. It's empty here because this is just my example. This is where you get to use the tools provided in Cami to mark up the text. You can use the highlighting tool. And from that highlighting tool, you can complete these tasks that are down here below. So these are the annotating suggestions that you'll do directly onto the text. So there'll be a whole bunch of writing here that you'll have to go back and mark the text. At the bare minimum, annotate specific sentences or lines in the text on the side of the text by marking it, and marking it with a written or a voice comment. At a minimum, you should identify 3 or more key details or observations, explain each detail by interpreting its meaning, or summarize each paragraph in your own words. Be sure that you read these directions each time that you complete the task, because I tend to change them based on the skill I want you to practice. But no matter what, when you go through and you mark the text, as you'll see the student did in the example, you'll want to check as many of these off as you can. That's how you know that you're fully getting the experience of marking the text. So let's check out that student's example. You'll see over here that this student has chosen to write his questions over here instead. That's fine as well. He checked boxes his list of words that he made. Notice how right here he generated that. He generated that he wanted to, for his annotation task, make a list of the words the author reuses. And then he interpreted the most important 4 lines of the text. This response is right here. And then he continues. And I just want you to get an overview of the quality and consistency that he uses to complete the annotation tasks. Now, the annotation tasks are over here on the right-hand side. That's where he chose to do all of his annotation tasks. He didn't choose to do any of the active reading in these circles, or in these squares. Don't know why. Maybe there wasn't enough room. But be sure that you organize your document so that it best fits your needs. You won't be marked off if you choose to do everything over here on the margins. That's completely fine too. I'm going to go down here to see how he marked the text. So in Kami, there's a feature where you can create a text box. And you can see where he has marked the text and the depth and complexity that he marked the text with. So this is where quality definitely comes into play. So right here, notice the details that he uses. Of course, this is a different piece of writing that you might not be reading. However, he is pulling out details, and for every detail that he pulls out, he explains it. Because the whole purpose of annotating the text and marking the text is to have a conversation with it. Right down here is his cause and effect chart. And notice how he has 1, 2, 3 causes. And then for each one of those, he has a subsequent event. So he has a paired event that explains the effects of those causes. So this model is the one that's presented to you. You have free access to it. You can see how he did it. You can also see the depth and complexity that he uses for all of his responses here. Now let's look at this audio comment that he made. On your Kami app, you'll see that this looks like a sound wave. It's where you'll record your voice, and you'll record an audio comment based on the prompts that are up here. So for example, this one was sit for 10 minutes, listen and observe to create a list of sensory observations. Use a video or voice comment. I usually prompt you when I want you specifically to use it. These audio comments are available to you at any time. So if you don't want to write these comments, you can always just verbalize them. Everybody learns differently. Use this tool to your maximum engagement. And then you'll notice that he has chosen to highlight, and for every highlight that he has, he explains why he highlights it. And then lastly, notice how thorough his answers are for every single one of the questions that he makes. So let's go back to the expectations. My expectations are that you use any of these items that are here and complete those to mark up the text. So you'll be doing that in the text itself.